Hello and welcome to the African Student Voices Show, your favorite student show on the AAU TV. And AAU TV is the voice of higher education in Africa. On the African Student Voices Show, we discuss issues pertaining to student welfare and well-being in their various institutions and the way forward. And today, we are here to discuss the effectiveness of the Student Representative Council, which is the SRC. The Student Representative Council, I believe, is a student body that is mostly found in institutions that serves as a liaison between the administration and then the student body. And one duty of the SRC is to have the students' interest at heart, but currently most institutions are doing otherwise. Some students do not even know the relevance of the SRC on their campuses and even at the national level. And today we are here to discuss the effectiveness of the Student Representative Council, which is the SRC, on their various institutions and how their initiatives contribute to the welfare and well-being of students. My name is Jemima Adeladam-Doche. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll delve straight into the conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break, and if you just joined us, this is African Student Voices Show on AAU TV, and my name is Jemima Adeladam-Doche. Today we are discussing the effectiveness of Student Representative Council, and I have here with me an amazing guest whom I'm going to introduce. So I have here with me Antoanette Wellington from the University of Professional Studies, Accra, who is the General Secretary for University Students Association of Ghana. And I also have here with me Amon Kotey Archibald, and he is also from the Academic City University College, and he's currently the Public Relations Officer of the SRC. You're both welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we all know, we are discussing the effectiveness of Student Representative Council, and I have you guys here as representatives from your various universities. So we'll delve straight into the conversation.
Right.
Now, as said earlier in my introduction, we know that the SRC is a student body that, they are there to serve as a liaison between the student administration and then the students body. But we ask ourselves, why is the SRC even there? Because equally we can all go to the university without the SRC because there is an administration who can equally rule us, do you understand? But then there is the SRC body. So I would want us to talk about the SRC body, give an overview of them and even their significance in the Ghana's educational system. I think I'll start from uni.
Okay. You don't start from the lady?
The lady?
All right.
Okay. I'll start from the lady then.
All right, please. So the SRC, as we all know, is actually the Student Representative Council.
Yeah.
So the SRC is supposed to be the bridge between we, the students, and the administration. So why the SRC? In a school like EPS, where we have over 21,000 students,
wow,
we all can go to administration with our grievances and our issues. So there's the need for students leaders. And we already have leaders in this nation, but then we grow. We don't just get out to become leaders. So we are students leaders, and we tend to learn from this stage. So the SRC is just a group of students leaders who come together to intercede for students. So they are there to send to management the grievances or the issues of students. They are there to represent students' interest in their welfare. And also to, as I said earlier, we are lots of students, and we all can be going to management with the same issue. Some people you can have let's say 100 students going to administration with just one issue. But as SRC, we find ways and means to get this information from students. So we send just a data to the administration that this is what they need. Because if we have over 20,000 people facing the same issue, they all can go to their offices. But once we the SRC, we have it, at least the president can take it to management, and the president is actually a student. So he or she is going to explain it to management, and management is going to understand because they know these are leaders, and they won't just come to them with just little issues. So that's what I can say for
So that's very smart because I was looking at it from the perspective that we can turn it backwards. So it's a council that is put in place to represent students. I keep telling people that the SRC is mainly about service because you have to be willing to set yourself apart to be able to put student needs in check. Make sure what the students want come to pass. So yeah, generally, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but Academic City is just about 600 people. I mean, because we are 5, but looking at the numbers, UPSA, that's a huge number. Everybody can't work. That's 21,000. And even for us at Academic City, we try to follow the hierarchy. So if there's a problem in your room, we don't expect to bring it directly to the SRC. We want you to take it to maybe the hostel coordinator. But if it is something that's persistent, you can walk in. The thing about the SRC is that we are students, so there's no bridge, there's no big bridge that, oh, I'm afraid to go talk to them. We are as ground level as the rest of the students. We are very student formed.
Okay. But I believe that, let me say, taking an institution into consideration, there are a lot of activities that happen in our institution. Apart from the classroom, going for lectures and all that, there are other extracurricular activities that goes on, like the SRC weeks. They have Aquaba, they have a couple of activities that run in the various institutions. But I want to know, how does the presence of an active SRC help students to engage in such activities? The classroom and then these extracurricular activities. I think with Academic City, I would want you to run us through some of these activities that you guys have done. And then how the engagement is.
So because of our class time, so we are 5. I don't know if I mentioned that, but we have a form of affiliation to the University of Cape Coast. So we are doing courses that they've run. So most of the time, classes get very tedious. Everybody's always tired. As SRC, we saw this and we put together something called Mindful Moments. So Mindful Moments happens on the last Wednesday of every month. So what we try and do is we try and do off-class things. For example, we bring, one of the sessions we had was a live pottery class. Learn how to use your hands to make pottery. We've had a craft class. We've had a sip and paint class. We've had a class that was on inside. So it's not classes, and most of the time we don't do it in indoor venues. We try and bring it outside, so everybody's free to be expressive. And one of the activities we had that was very involving was when we made everybody come out and print on shirts. We realized that everybody looks at school to be sort of right. And we realized that Academic City already gives us the opportunities we want. At some point, we're trying to bring industry personnel to come talk to us about what to do after school. But the school already has initiatives like that. So one thing we try to do is we try to ask, one thing our president did, or the SRC president did, was there were lots of people who were confused about leadership things. So what he did was every Sunday, I think at 4, he brought some of them together in the recreational center. If you're interested in being a leader, then we'll just we generally gather their questions and other things and link with. I know one person was able to get answers from Cave, the manager, the owner for Caveman Watches, Mr. Jemefe. But generally, so we take on some of these people's things and put it together. Yesterday we had an Asanka Delight. That was our first event as the SRC 2023-2024 year group. It's generally celebrating cultural food. So the first edition we put together Ghanaian food, and it's generally to eat it in an Asanka. That's the point. So we had eba from Nigeria. We had acheke. We had yam with palaba sauce, and we found out that palaba sauce is quite evident in a lot of countries. Even though they use spinach and we use cocoyam leaves, it's the process is very cut across. We've done a number of things. The thing is, we don't want to seem too event focused, but a lot of the problems that the students are faced from our end is there's too much going on in class. Some of us have class from 5. We have class from 8:30 to 5:30. Some of us have to stay after class to finish the assignments because it might be due 2 days after. So we try and seek to do events that are not so serious, not so crazy. Events that would want you wanting a part 2. Funny enough, most of the events we've done, we've had to build on them over time because people still want more. The last Asanka Delight was in May, and we did the last one yesterday.
But I think you haven't mentioned anything like the SRC week? Do you guys have anything
Yeah.
like
So we
that?
had a SRC week 3 weeks ago. It was an exciting week. So our theme for this year was aura. We generally picked a chip off the whole presence form. We wanted to be a body of presence, or a school that carried the presence, and we did a number of things. We climaxed it with an event which saw Daco vibes and a few other local and I think one French DJ.
Okay, I think you guys are doing a lot with the activity.
Oh, we are. We tried to get a lot of people involved because the classes are
a lot.
guys.
Okay, let me come to you, Antoinette. Let's talk about, the presence of an active SRC and how it helps students to engage in this class activities and then these extracurricular activities.
Okay, so for me, for an active SRC, you should, they're supposed to make sure they engage students a lot. So when it comes to UPSA like this, in UPSA like this, I feel in UPSA there was a point in time where I used to say the activities were too much, because honestly UPSA is a school that people used to say we are the school of University of pressure and something like that. Yeah, and honestly the pressure there is too much. It's too much with the professional things and everything.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
then we have SRC and we have our departmental executives to do a lot. And honestly, UPS is like every student's leader wants to put themselves out there, not just putting themselves out there, but they're actually working for it.
Yes.
So when you come to the departmental level, they are all working, like they are active.
Yeah.
Even tomorrow, there's this funny thing, we have our WUCOM having a program tomorrow, and we have some departmental executives who are also having a program for the Women's Day. And it's like they all want to engage the student because the learning is too much. So with the SRC like this, we have the SRC Intercom, for instance. I think they hold programs almost every week just to release stress. So just the Form 1s did their matriculation, I think was it last week Thursday, and after the matriculation there was it party or something of that sort for them. They have those kind of activities, and also to the SRC WUCOM especially puts in place leadership forums, and we have Face of UPSA where students who are into pageantry come out with their skills and all that they have to do, and they also have other programs. I mean, you see, like UPSA, the departmental level already take up certain programs that even when SRC wants to take it, so like the school has a lot of activities, but then the learning is too much.
But then how is the engagement? Because I'm seeing that you guys have a lot of programs. I think you mentioned that almost every week there is a department that has program, like almost every week. So how is the engagement like? Because I know, as you said, UPSA is seen as, a school of pressure and all that. And then I'm going to school, I have a whole lot of assignments. And then now every week I have to be going to programs. So how is the engagement of students? Okay,
so for when it comes to the intercom programs, it's actually not, it's not really on campus. So, it's not, when you come to school, they tell you that when you get to university, you can go out, have fun. So you see, we have those people who are coming for it. But then when they come to UPSA, it tends to look like we are only here for serious businesses. But me, for instance, like frankly speaking, I haven't attended any of those programs before. It's just the programs on campuses, like the ones for leadership. And for UPSA, we have this, the UEIC, that's for entrepreneurship. So we have this entrepreneurship club there. We have other clubs, but with this one like this, it trains students. So students who just don't want to complete school without any business idea. So once you have a business idea, you start from here. You work on it. So you see, this one alone is already fun for us because I have a little business idea, and we have trainers, we have teachers who train us to build upon these businesses. So that we have students that as they are in school, they're already starting their businesses. And with UPSA too, we have students that immediately they are done with school, instead of going outside to do their national service, working in other businesses, they work on their own businesses. And we have teachers around, tutors around, who help them to develop their business ideas. They pitch it, and they are given some amount of money to start their businesses.
So I think that is a lot for the activities from both schools. When it comes to the SRC, I know that they are there to give the students a voice. Yes, because as you said, 100 students cannot walk to the administration and then go there with one concern. But I want to know, when it comes to the curriculum of a school, does the SRC have a say on how administration roll out their curriculum for maybe a particular semester or let me say for the year? I think I'll still be on you, Antoinette.
Okay, so for me, it's quite unfortunate, but I feel like in UPSA like this, the SRC does not really have a say in this kind of things. The only thing they do is to advocate. So let's say there's this curriculum, there's this course that you are doing. They try to teach students how they should go about it. They try to enlighten us on their courses so that you don't find yourself doing a course that you don't really like. So they try to, since they are SRC, like they are already ahead of us, they try to speak to us about the courses. They let us know what it entails and the kind of dedication you have to commit to that kind of program. But they being part of the decision making when it comes to this curriculum, they don't really. But I feel like the SRC is part of that council, they are part of the board, which should be doing this. But for me, I would say that we don't really have individuals like SRC executives who can really face management to actually put their voices on this kind of issues.
Okay, let me come to you. How about academics?
I think it's sort of the same thing, but we try because, like I said, or I've been saying, we have a form of affiliation with a school already. So when we have issues, we run it to the registry. People, the registry, a lot of people go there, but when people have academic issues or things that they want to be changed, they come to us and we push it to the registry. For example, maybe the class times. I know over time, when I was in level 100, the class times were too close. For example, I can have only a 30 minutes break before the next class. But one thing I realized is that now, even with the 30 minutes break, classes don't start. So now instead of 30, maybe it starts at 35. So the 5 minutes is to break before the lecturer comes in. And as part of the course outline for some courses, there's a 15 minutes break that you have before the class actually starts. So if I go to the class 30 minutes, or the break is 30 minutes and I sit in the class, maybe for the 15 minutes, I can rest before the classes actually start. So that's more like 20 minutes before. So some of some of our grievances are taken into consideration, but to be part of the decision making wholly, no, I don't think we've gotten to that part yet.
Okay, but before we go on break, I would want us to address some issues. There are a lot of issues when it comes to the university community. There are issues of, fees. Sometimes, the fees are out, and then the administration gives students a deadline to, pay your fees and register and then start class. But sometimes there is this issue of not being able to pay your fees. There is an issue of registration. Sometimes hostels, and even sometimes administration policies do not go well. But I want to know, how does the SRC, still on Academic City, how does the SRC collaborate with the administration to be able to fix such issues on the campuses?
I don't know if you have ears around, but one thing our body or our current SRC is trying to do is we are launching a welfare fund. So that's our legacy project, one of our legacy projects actually. We are trying to launch a welfare fund. That's good. We are trying to so we're going to put money in it, but we're going to get it to be filled by a few other people, NGOs and things around. And it's generally to help people, continuing students who can't go on with the school anymore, because it is a challenge. I was explaining during that meeting when we're setting targets for the welfare that I had group. So Academic City strives on group work. So from level 100, I had group meetings with a number of people. And one guy who I had a group meeting with, this guy was really smart. And all of a sudden he wasn't in school again. So I tried reaching out, and it ended up being one of these things. And it was shocking, but it wasn't shocking. So, it's very important. I feel like it's very, very, very important, because a lot of people have potential, but then money problems always are the problem. So, as the SRC for this current 2023-2024 administration year, we are trying to roll out a welfare fund to help students who are facing some of these challenges.
Okay, all right. So I want you to touch on UPSA in a few minutes, then we can go on break.
All right. So with UPSA, we already have a welfare committee. When it comes to the SRC, they already have a welfare committee. And aside that, we have our vice chancellor. He has a scheme that's for brilliant but needy students. So there are some students that I'm not really conversant with that information, but I know that we have up to 50 to 100 students that are sponsored within that period of time. So that are students who are in their first class students, the continuing students here. They sponsor some of them. I think, was it last year or last year? I attended one of the programs where they were being awarded. But then UPSA SRC on its own already have a welfare committee that help students pay their fees. But then, you know, it's not all students that you can help, because we have a lot of students who have this issue, and there are even some of them who won't come out to tell you. They won't even go to the SRC unless they have a friend in the SRC and they feel like, oh, Anes, I want you to help me with this. They will tell you, but some of them won't actually tell you this kind of things.
So this has been African Student Voices show, and we've been having very interesting conversation around the effectiveness of the Student Representative Council in the various institutions. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the discussion. Stay tuned. Back from the break, and this is African Student Voices if you just joined us, and we've been discussing the effectiveness of the Student Representative Council. And before we went on break, there were some issues, or let me say there were some ways that were rolled out on how student and administration comes together to solve some of the student issues, and we are here to continue with our conversation. Welcome back from the break.
Thank you.
So let's continue with our conversation. I believe that before, an SRC is being voted into power, we get to hear from them what plans they have for us. They read a manifesto, they have a whole lot of plans, a whole lot of initiatives that they would want to bring on board when they are being elected into power. But I would want us to talk about, taking both schools into consideration, let's talk about some of the positive initiatives that the SRC has implemented that has brought about some form of positivity in the students' body and equally in the educational environment. I'll start from you, Me.
Okay, so I think majority of ours have centered around activities. For example, the out-of-class activities we've done. We've not really, most of the initiatives we are going to pass or policies we are going to pass center around the welfare fund that I mentioned initially. I remember one thing we did last semester during the exam time was we gave out bookmarks. We gave out a few pens as well. We've not really implemented serious policies, but we do the light things through the activities we do to push people. Last Valentine's Day, we shared a few cards. We shared a few chocolates for people who didn't have anybody to give to them. We're always trying to celebrate people. I know tomorrow, Women's Day is coming. And one thing as well is we are trying to push the women. We'll have a few seminars on campus. We'll have a few women come together to create some content. I'm saying it from the public relations part of things. But yeah, we've not really done any crazy initiatives, but we do things on the light. We do things through the activities we do. Okay.
All right. So I'll come to you. I think UPSA has quite a number of, initiatives that is helping the school and the students equally. So can we have a discussion on that?
Okay. So as he actually said, most of these initiatives are centered around activity. So first of all, let's start with this entrepreneurial spirit they try to inculcate in us. So in UPSA, we've come to it's not just about we coming to school, but when I got to UPSA, what they usually used to tell us is that we are professionals. So one thing they try to invite in us is they try to speak to us to take up these professional courses. And not just that, not everyone is ready to just enter that field, that corporate field. Some people also have their own businesses they are up to. So what they do is that they try to engage us on our entrepreneurial skills. So they will come, for instance, host programs where they come up with initiatives like learning how to vocational skills and like cooking. It's not just cooking, like a lot of people can cook, but like baking, beads, doing beads,
bead making.
So and there are other stuff. And also so we have is it the soft skills where people learn how to use learn graphic designing and other stuff. So they actually train people on this thing. So there are people that even when they are aspiring for positions, they do their own graphic designing. And we already have students who are working on the job. I mean, for after they go for this training, they learn how to do it. They try to polish it because we have the UIC there. They go there to learn more. And the Wokom actually does a lot when it comes to these activities like entrepreneurial activities and vocational. Like, is it makeup and there are a whole lot of things. So they try to engage us to work on all these kind of things. And also to, there are other activities, but we also have clubs. So the clubs actually take these initiatives to up and tend to help students. We also have students who just learn on this leadership skills, public speaking, and UPSA actually has stakeholders. Like, I don't know if you guys, your school, you guys are part of this MTN Focus Pulse Challenge. So UPSA is how it's, you know, as leaders, when we go to campaign, we tell them that we have connections. We have connections from here. So when there are any entrepreneurial competition or something, we draw the attention of our students to it. So me, for instance, last 2 years, I was able to compete for the MTN Pulse Challenge. But actually, I didn't really. But
I think last year's was Michael, if I'm not.
Yes, Michael's time. We went together. So, you know, they actually bring this these opportunities to us. Even though we have the EIC there that is helping, we have the entrepreneurship club that is helping. They try as much as possible to bring these stakeholders to campus. So when there's this opportunity, we go out there, we try to test ourselves, challenge ourselves, and do something new.
I think those are very, very great initiatives. Yes, but then now let's come to a sense of leadership. I know the SRC is there as a leader. I mean, be ahead of the student body and then, I mean, liaise between students and then administration. But I want to know, how does the SRC use their role to promote culture leadership and also help students to be responsible on campuses? I think I'll still be on you, Antoinette.
How they help students?
How are they using their leadership role to help students become good leaders and equally become responsible on their various campuses?
Okay, so for that one, I said the SRC, most of them try to set examples for us. When it comes to UPSA like this, I don't know, everybody feels like the branding is wearing suits, dressing modest, dressing decent, and going, and also to, with UPS, it's like going to, being connected to people, going to big places. And so when you are able to, I mean, dress in this kind of manner, you are dressing good, you are being able to go to places, it gives us that sense of responsibility, like this person is good enough. So like you tend to learn from them, you are trying to emulate what they do. So it's just basically that.
I think UPSA too, from what you've been telling me, I think you guys have your department heads. So I think in other words, I mean, the student, in as much as there is SRC, the sub I mean, are able to take up leadership roles, and in other words, I think they build something for themselves too.
And you know, in UPSA, for instance, you have course reps. We have the departmental executives, and we also have a lot of groups. So in UPS, I don't know, like when you come to UPS, you tend to see a lot of leaders because almost everyone is aspiring for a position. So, but it's not everyone who ends up going for the position actually. But then you see some people who are not even aspiring for position, but then the way they dress, the way they behave, the kind of, I don't even know how to say. Me, when I went to UPSA, for instance, I never had it in mind to go for a position. But when I got to the school, it's like everyone is having this kind of confidence, like when they are talking and even the way they dress. So when you just get it, you feel like, hey, I'm going to be left out. But there are actually some students who don't really mind about all these kind of things, and they just want to live their life.
All right, sure. So viewers, we have we'll be joined in by the SRC president for Wisconsin. So we'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, we would continue with our conversation. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break, and if you just joined us, this is African Student Voices show on AAU TV, and don't forget AAU TV is the voice of higher education in Africa. So we've been joined in by Mr. Steve Hakeem, the SRC president for Wisconsin University College.
That's
You're
right.
welcome.
Thank
Mr.
you very
Steve.
much.
So before you came in, we've been having a discussion around the effectiveness of Student Representative Council. And since you are here as a president, I'm sure you have a lot of answers to give us. Yeah, so we've been talking about the SRC as a liaison between the students' body and then the administration,
Right.
and how the SRC has been helping students take taking the issues of students to the administration, and how and some of the initiatives that the SRC has been able to bring on board that is helping students and that is helping the educational environment on the
Right.
campuses at large. But I want to address this question to you. You know, before an SRC is being elected into power, they have a lot of initiatives that they bring
Right.
on board. They have things that they want to do. They read manifestos and then all that. But before we go there, I would want to, I know in Wisconsin University, I mean, there are issues. In every
Yeah.
community, you don't expect, I mean, a smooth sail. There are equally issues
sure.
there. But I want to know, how does, since you are a president, how do you and your team collaborate with administration to help solve some of these student issues? Because I know there are issues of fees, there are sometimes issues of registration,
Right.
and a whole lot. So how do you help solve such issues with administration?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers wherever they are watching us from. There is something I want to say, that there's theoretical and practical difference between being a student leader in a public university and being a student leader in a private university. I've had an opportunity to experience both sides for it, because in UCC, for example, where I did my first degree and all that, student leaders at a point in time, you can find ways and means, and then you can have a stance, you know, with management, and then you press on certain things for you to get your results, irrespective of it. But private universities usually are people's businesses, and being a student leader there is sometimes very Herculean and sometimes very difficult.
Okay.
And indeed, we will say that, in, as you rightly said, there is no institution or there is no place where we have human beings that are of challenges.
That's true.
But we try our best, because, for example, before I became SRC president, I was the speaker of the SRC Parliament in Wisconsin, and I happened to be on the editorial committee. And as a law student, there are certain students that they come in that allegedly examination malpractices, and you have to stand in. And I still serve on that particular board. And sometimes you'd have to go tell some of the lecturers. For example, I have to tell one HOD that if you say the students copied, then you have to bring very cogent evidence to prove that he copied, because he who alleges have to prove, basically. So some of the things that you have to sometimes do. Some of the problems, sincerely speaking, irrespective of it, unless God comes, you cannot solve it. For example, as a law student, I'm paying 6,000 per semester. Let's say 12,000 students a year.
Yeah.
And student come and says that I'm owing fees of X amount. Your SRC dues per student is 35 cedis.
Okay.
So how on earth Hakeem can pay your fees? You understand? However, there are certain instances that a student have maybe 1,000 cedis to go, 800 cedis to go, and then when you listen to the situations, for example, I had one first year guy that immediately had admission, his mommy shop just got bent.
Wow.
And after all situations, you realize that this guy is actually brilliant and he's good, and you had to help. And I was left with about some 1,500. We were able to just sort it out. Yeah, those ones are there.
Yeah.
You know that management is to do the business and also to impact knowledge.
Yeah.
But they are not so interested in the sporting activities, the extracurricular activity. We try our possible best to put those ones there. There are certain few challenges that certain people are there that you may not be able to even stand before people to talk. For instance, registration issues. Sometimes the person registered or paid through the link that was sent, but it wasn't registered and all that. If we have some of those code evidence, we can sometimes go to the faculties and see how best those things are resolved. Yes. Sometimes also there are certain opportunities that we can tend to get. For instance, the Commonwealth Youth Parliament that's supposed to be chaired. Since they started, no private university have chaired it before.
Okay.
But this year, Wisconsin is going to chair it.
Okay.
And then the motion statements and all those things given by a student from Wisconsin and others. Okay. So we tend to put our lobbying skills and other things that we can bring to campus. Yeah. We try to also increase external engagement and all that. I'm sure maybe before me, other association leadership may not have known Wisconsin as a president. But in my tenure, NUCS, USAG, PUSAG and all those things, we try our possible best to be there and then also sell the school and all that. Yes, so basically, that's what we tend to do.
Okay, so let me come to the curriculum. So does the SRC president of, let me say, Wisconsin have a say in the curriculum being rolled out, which is being rolled out by the administration?
Okay, so, you know, curriculum, I would always want to come with evidence-based analysis. You know, curriculums are actually brought by GTEC, Ghana Tertiary Education Council and all those things. And the curriculum itself, even most at times, the university themselves may not even have much to say about it. More especially those who are being mentored. If you are being mentored by somewhere, your mentoring institution has a curriculum that you are going to run. I know Academic City has the same particular thing. But as a SRC president and sitting council, you can sometimes give some suggestions. For example, weekend students writing exams on weekdays, for instance, is something that you can speak about and let them know that the admission letter you gave was saying they are weekend students, so they have to write exams on weekends. Yes, this is some of the advocacy that we can put in there. Sometimes when the calendar for the exams is being prepared, you realize that it doesn't favor almost everybody. You can put in 1 or 2 words and all that. And then let's say timetable and other few things. Those ones, as when you do. And aside that, I would also see that all resonates or embodies on the kind of relationship we tend to build with faculty.
Yes, that's true.
And sometimes in the private university, like in the number of universities that I've attended and all, you are as something very different from the private universities. It's like even sometimes when you want to get your dues, I don't know what happens to academics. Sometimes it looks like your own dues that comes management. Either you have to write a thesis to get it. It's very difficult. You see, I actually applaud every student leader in the private universities because, for example, we went for PUSA games and one university was saying that they submitted budget for to send students for PUSA games, and management is saying that what is the price tag when they win the PUSA games? If there's no price tag, then there's no need.
Then they are no, really?
So sometimes it depends on the kind of relationship that you build with them. When you build with them, they can make it aware, they can make certain suggestions and all those things, and they're going to pick it. But others, for example, one of the things that, you know, we run a parallel system whereby we have online and in person. But so when you resume school, 2 to 3 weeks in person, everybody, then 300 and 400 breaks online, and then those ones in person and just switch. But I looked at it that the nursing faculty and all that, for example, you are doing abnormal labor or normal labor. These are some of the things that you would have to get practical experience. But they are in 400, and you can't say they should do online. So I now spoke to management. Management was like, okay, if the class arranged with the various lectures in that particular field and all that, and they're okay, why not do that? For example, my class, for instance, taxation, law of taxation. As you are even in the class, you are not understanding how much more you are doing it online. So we tend to speak to some of the lecturers and then they agree to do that. So these are some of the few things you can do, but not to have a standpoint because
So before we almost bring the discussion to an end, I know that as an SRC, before you are being voted into power, there's a whole lot of list of initiatives that you would want to execute when you come on board. So let's talk about some of the positive initiatives that you've been able to execute on the Wisconsin campuses that is bringing some form of positivity on the students, among the students.
Okay, let me start with the manifesto. Indeed, I know no student leader would sit on or no leader at all on earth to say, I'm going for a position that I don't have a plan. You may have a plan, but there are 2 things that in my tenure I'll say this is maybe my second time being SRC president.
Yeah.
But comparing the first place in Wisconsin, there are things that I have seen to be very different.
Okay.
For example, because the private institution, one, the release of funds delays. And sometimes, for example, I wanted to buy an additional bus for our school, and then I wanted to get that particular bus only for SRC. Charlie, that thing, I have written 60 million letters and
it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one, I would say technically, it'd be like a cast. I'm trying to put other things.
Yeah.
When I came, SRC didn't have a conference room.
Okay.
We're operating one office. No, we're operating 2 offices. Okay. I added 1 extra office and then 1 conference room. So the conference room, because we have some few meetings and all that, we can actually put it there. We try to get some 2 PS5 into our GCR. Okay. So our GCR have very good PS5. Yeah, you can come and pass them. You have to do the academic system and then show them something. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
and others. So those ones, we are trying our best to put some of those things together. Yeah. So, we had a partnership with MTN to give some bundles to students. I think it was 10 gig for some few cities and all that. Yeah. So.
Okay. All right. So we are almost ending the conversation, but then I believe that as a body, which is the SRC, there are a lot of challenges that you go through. I mean, amidst all these things that you are doing, I'm sure that there are a lot of things that come into your DMs. There are a lot of issues that sometimes you don't even know who to address it to. Yeah. And sometimes you get these messages on your phones, and then, I mean, within a minute, you forget. So now let's talk about some of the challenges that you face as the SRC. I'll come to you, Antoinette. What are some of the challenges that the SRC face, and how are they able to, maneuver, if I should put it that way?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, I really linked a lot from what Hakeem was saying. Okay. And actually, UPSA was once a private institution. Yeah. Before we are now public. But then, honestly, sometimes I don't really see the public.
It's still operating like a private.
Yeah. I don't see, because it's like he was actually seeing what we actually experience in UPSA, because for funds to be released and certain things, we even have to go for programs. For programs from other unions, you find it difficult to go because you write letters severally and like
nothing is being done.
Yes. So some of the challenges we face as SRC executives in the school is where actually it comes with our management sometimes. So sometimes I feel like management see some of us, or should I say some executives actually try to be too overambitious. Okay. It's like that is how the path has become, like that's how management has seen it for some period of time. Yeah. So even when we get new SRC executives who are not even being too overambitious, they tend to feel like these people, that's what they come to do. And actually, as SRC executives, we come to work in the interest of our students. Yeah. Even though sometimes you realize that, the student is at fault. Since we are working in the interest of the students, you can't just let it go that way. So we try to speak to the students, see how we can go about it. Okay. But then you see, management will always try to have their way. Because as you said, me, UPSA, honestly, I say that like it's actually for business. So you can't go to management and tell management that they should do this, and you just expect them to do it. Sometimes you really have to build a relationship with them. Because for me, I'm not an executive of UPSA, but I had an issue once, and I went to my dean. I just had to speak to her. And honestly, me, that day when I came out, I was so excited because she actually listened to me. And when I went, I told her that, I'm your daughter. So you see, some SRC executives, I feel like they always want to portray to management like we are student leaders, so you have to do what you want. I quite remember as a USAC general secretary, one SRC president contacted me, was telling me about their school fees issue. And I told him that, see, we are all leaders. And you can't just go to your dean or management and tell them that your student wants this, so you are doing. No, let them understand that you are actually a student. You are coming to them because you even recognize the fact that you are a student and you are going through this. But when you make them know that you are a student leader, so you just want to please your people, they don't even work. It won't work. So honestly, management will not just be there and say, will just be doing things in the favor of the students. And aside this one too, I feel like we have political interferences.
That's true.
In our SRC.
Yeah.
I don't really have far to read that to this, but I know, yes, honestly.
The president is here. I think you will address that when I get to him.
Yes, there are political interferences. So, you know, you have a group of executives you are working with, and they all come with different political backgrounds. And you know, as I said earlier, we are student leaders, and some of us, we tend to take this thing further. So some of them are there to please their political godfathers and the rest. So even as you are working with them as executives, they feel like, no, my godfather is saying I should do this, so else he won't give me. You see, so they try to mix all these things with the student leadership, and you find it so difficult
to operate now. Okay, let me come to you. You've been too quiet. So let's talk about some challenges.
I think for me, I'm going to take it from like 3 tracks of how I've experienced it.
We did that briefly.
Yeah, briefly. So the first one is, like she said, sort of internal. I've not really seen the political aspect to it, but one big challenge I've had as being part of the SRC internally is we all came together as friends.
Yeah.
And familiarity breaks progress, in my opinion. Because you can't get angry at the sports commissioner because he missed the meeting. But then the meeting was for the improvement of the football game against another school. And sometimes it's crazy. So yeah, one very painful thing that I faced or challenge is centering around the internal factor, where we cannot really bridge the communication gap, or sometimes when we are able to bridge it, it might end in another an argument and misagreement. Another thing too is the management.
Yeah.
Gosh, you know, I'm really shocked. People are paying 35 CDs for SRCDs.
That's chicken chase, isn't it?
I mean, we're paying $35.
Wow.
So that's a lot of money. And I mean, when I'm going to, when we write for budget, I'm always so sad for the financial secretary because she's a woman and she's a strong woman too. But boy, sometimes I'm writing budgets of about 30,000 CDs, and when she comes back and says, "Oh, they're being difficult," I can't blame them though, because 30,000 is quite an amount. So management also tries to be tough, because I mean, it matters of money, but like they've also mentioned, having that rapport with them always comes back, because sometimes we are on a deadline, but they are like, you know, okay, it's you people, so let's just write it off, then you meet next time, something. So always there's it comes to a consensus. We are able to agree at some point, but it's not really a problem. It's just a surface problem. I'm just hoping the next SRC is able to come out of it. And then I think the other one is the people. They do not, for one thing I've experienced is that they don't want to communicate, but then they're having problems. For example, Academic City has a lot of activities, not a lot, but we always try to get what people want to be done. So we have town halls, we have big initiatives for people to come around, but people come around and don't say anything, but then go back and complain. Exactly. So we don't know like what we can do, because we try and put out silent service. Nobody likes filling forms, so we call you back. We've had breakfast, get together. We've done so many things for people to come together, but people don't want to communicate, and then it doesn't make the school get better. So.
So lastly, I'll take from you, Steve, very briefly.
So one of the main challenges that I should say the main challenge. This is not the main challenge. People go for positions, but they don't want to work for it. You see, I started my administration on the 17th of May last year. I've used 90% to fight.
And then 10%.
Yes, because people will take positions and they just want to have it just like even ceremonial. You will come for events. They are not ceremonial. They are not working. They are nothing. And there is a statement in Chi as in Konongo Kaya, isn't it? Don't do the work. Don't let anybody do it. And they are just misbehaving. That's one of the major things that I see that is worrying student leaders. Because my general secretary has never written a single letter. You understand?
Okay.
Yes, exactly. That's sad. People would want to come for position, and I always want to say things as it is. They come for position, they wouldn't want to work, and they wouldn't show up. And you don't see any form of leaders in them. The political interference that I'm speaking about, she was speaking about. People are being pushed into offices that they are not meriting it. You get it? For example, my election, after winning the election with 73.5%, the losing party just, okay, let's just go to court. And we go to the circuit court, not judicial council, they went to the high court.
Interesting.
It's okay, that's fine. So I was home and they sent me that injunction handing over. I looked at it, this is not injunction, this is a notice of injunction.
Okay.
We did a handing over. After the handing over, the day when we went to court, I had a senior friend. He was a senior lawyer. He actually entered appearance. Now they are saying, oh, but we're all playing. We're going to bring this big man. You see?
Yeah.
Political interference in student leadership is not making people advocate as they are supposed to be.
Right.
And it's so sad. To summarize, to aside SRC, associations. Some time ago, we could see Nooks and USAG making very good, cogent advocacy. But now, if your party is not empowered to be in the offices, impossible.
All right.
And that is what is bringing student leadership so down.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. It's been an interesting conversation. I must say I have learned a lot from how the SRC works, some of the issues that you guys faced, and then being able to build that rapport with administration. So this has been African Student Voices show, and we discussed the effectiveness of Student Representative Council. I had here with me very lovely guests, and my name is Jemima Adeladem-Doche. You can follow the conversation on our social media handles, Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube. Have a nice day, and bye.